And you say it's hard. What are you talking about?
What up, party people? We got another banger for y'all this week with lots of talk on the recent not-so-happenings at Midsouth this past weekend, before transitioning over to some of what's going down at Cape Epic right now, including whether or not U.S. fan favorite Keegan Swenson is just on some bad form, or maybe he's just totally washed. And then we give our predictions on the upcoming men's and women's Milan-San Remo race this weekend, before getting into the usual tire talk. This episode is brought to you by a few of our favorite brands, including SILCA and Bike Tires Direct. To get your hands on some of our go-to products like SILCA's Chain Wax or the Crockpotanator 4000, head over to silca.cc today and use the discount code BonkbrosFiberFoam at checkout for 10% off. Or you can pick up some of those coveted Race Kings or Thunderbirds from our friends over at Bike Tires Direct for 10% off with the code BonkBros. And as you've probably picked up on by now, we're also hyped on a new partnership that's bringing us raw energy day in, day out in the form of ketone esters. That's right, if you want to get your hands on some of this KETONEAID magic sauce in either the ketone heavy or the ketone light form, with free shipping to boot, click on the link in our show notes stat. If you have any questions or feedback for the Bonk Bros, you can drop us a note at bonkbrospodcast@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on the Bonk Bros Instagram page. Oh yeah, and one more thing. We talk about it in the show, but if you want to help out some of the locals that were affected by the damaging winds and fires that happened down in Stillwater this past weekend, you can do so by also helping out friend of the pod Chase Work overtake fellow compatriot Ted King in the ongoing Mega Midsouth fundraising duel by heading over to their respective Instagram pages to find out more info. All right, let's get this party started already.
Adam, you missed out this year.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, you were.
Man.
Yep. You
Picked a good one to miss, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm really glad I didn't go.
Yeah, can you imagine Scott goes to his first gravel race ever and it's the Mid-South?
Hey, get this.
How pissed would you have been?
I mean,
If
you can't be.
If you went all
I think
the way to
everyone's pissed.
Oklahoma. Yeah, that's true.
But get this. Simon Nordal Swenson, I stayed with him. He didn't get to race Valley of Tears either because he flew all the way over here for Valley of Tears in Mid-South, and he couldn't start Valley of Tears because his fork on his bike broke the morning of the race.
Yeah,
couldn't race.
For the listeners who don't know where he flew from Norway.
That's like a long ways away.
That's a long ways away. And
Dylan, could you
the
point out
races got
Norway on the
canceled
map?
for him.
I made a whole my video about the Norwegian method. It started with a map of Europe, and then Norway.
Is that
was
when you figured out where Norway was?
No, dude. I mean, probably up until the point of that video, I would have confused Norway and Sweden, but it's okay.
What about Finland? Don't even throw that in the mix.
I felt so bad for him. Flew all the way over here. And he broke his bike. He broke his bike, didn't get to race. And
what broke on his fork?
Now he's back home. I think the steer tube cracked inside the frame or whatever. I don't know how.
In transit?
I don't know. He just said he heard it before the race and he could start to feel it getting loose. And he was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't race.
Was it a laugh?
No. Dude. You were Argon 18? Are you kidding me? Like, dude, don't even start.
Yeah, he had to ride Bobby's single speed all week.
Really?
He was riding Bobby's bike all week.
That's kind of badass.
Was it cleaned?
I wish I was there. I could have shown him how to ride a single speed. Yeah. Fool's probably got no idea what he's doing.
It had like the bar bag and the fenders and the 46 wide bars. It was awesome.
Welcome to the spirit of gravel, Simon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was too bad. I was bummed about my 11-hour car drive there and back, but when I thought of Simon, it made me. I was like, dang, he has it way worse than I do. That guy's pretty mellow too.
Yeah, super mellow.
For as good as
wasn't he my pick for the win?
Yeah, I picked him for Valley of Tears. Yeah,
But you guys are both wrong.
Guess we'll never.
we were way off. There was a 0% chance that I was picking Daxton Mock to win that race.
Dylan, where are you at?
I don't actually know, to be honest with you.
Oh my god!
Somewhere in between Bentonville and Brevard.
So you rode in Bentonville this weekend?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
And
okay.
you're not, and you haven't got home yet?
Nope.
Will you get home today?
I don't know. We'll see.
You should have stayed and did the details. You should have did the Mega Midsouth with Chase.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? So I feel like the people listening probably know this, but just in case people are living under a rock, Midsouth got canceled because there were fires.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Listen,
I guess
as
we
the
should have
only
said
Bonk
that,
Bros and highest Bonk Bros finisher of the Mid-South,
That's true.
It did
I
not
would
get
like to set
canceled.
the record straight. It did not get canceled. Just your silly little cycling ride got canceled.
You're probably still feeling the fatigue from the Mid-South.
Dude, I'm not. I'm ready to go. I would run 50 miles today if I had
Yeah,
to.
he was gonna do your little cycling ride the next day.
Yeah,
dude. Well, you guys sat with your feet up. Oh, I can't go to the expo.
I saw Kelsey after she finished the run, and she was telling me her times and all that, and I was like, well, I can tell you what, you look a lot better than I do when I finished the run. I was haggard. Is that the right word? Haggard? I was not in a good spot after I finished that.
All right.
run.
So the bike race got canceled because of wildfires.
Yep.
Yep.
It was
Not
crazy.
the run.
DJ had to get and me. We had to get evacuated from our house.
Yeah.
So what'd you do? Where'd you go?
Or did you evacuated?
We went to the brewery. Where else would you go? When
No,
there's
like
a
they were-
wildfire, Scott?
No, it was like an
'cause
official
both of you are real big
evacuation.
drinkers, huh?
Well, we didn't know where else to go. I didn't know what to do. It was literally like one of those situations where you're like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, do I go home? Do I stay here? So then we just ended up sitting in the brewery for like 6 hours waiting to figure out
Watching
what
other
to do.
people have fun.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. We ate beef jerky. But we didn't.
You ate
me
beef
and
jerky.
me and
I was
Chase had
gonna say, I
a,
don't think Dylan was eating beef jerky.
I was
Yeah,
so
sure.
pissed about the race being canceled that I gave up on veganism.
Hey, that's at least one good thing came out of Mid-South.
yeah. So that was that.
Yeah.
It was a bummer. But it's a way bigger bummer for the people whose houses burned down. So
Yeah.
You know what's crazy too is that we woke up the next morning and the air quality was in the green. It was like good to go. We could have totally had the race.
Yeah.
So what did you do, Dylan? You from an air quality perspective, yes, but you just pieced out that night, or did you just leave to go stay somewhere?
So I was with Adam Roberge and we went to Tulsa and we rode in Tulsa that day. We did 20-minute tests instead of racing. And I've never been race tapered when I do a 20-minute test, and I got my highest power numbers ever in my
Dude,
life.
Oh, were
nice.
they? Drop them, dude.
I sent them in the group chat and you guys didn't even respond.
When?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know what that was.
Oh, I didn't know what
just
that
said
was
the
either.
number,
You just said
and I was
413, and I was like, "Is that the area code of where you are right now?" I was like, "This guy's
It was like right after I
That's
said
right.
my.
Yeah.
It was right after
The
I said
number,
my times.
the number was so
So
high that you
high.
guys didn't even
Yeah.
know what
If
I
it
was
had
talking
been
about.
$3.99, I would have known exactly what you were talking
It
about.
was like
but-
in response to Tyler talking about his time in the run. So I thought maybe like 413 was like someone else that you knew that ran.
Thought you were talking shit. That like that's.
I have no idea.
Like
I
you
thought he
were
was in the wrong.
in 413.
I thought he was in the wrong group text. I was like, yeah, idiot.
So what, 413 for like a couple
Straight.
minutes or 30
Okay.
seconds? Or
You should do like an 8-minute test.
So I actually on Training
Hour.
Peaks, it's 414 watts for 20 minutes for the first one, and then I did another one like 4 hours in that was 401 watts for 20 minutes.
Dude, that's nice.
Yeah.
It was on a cork, wasn't it?
Well,
It was on a cork.
I was just waiting for Scott to say that.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
Yeah,
Tyler
because
said it.
Scott's. What was Adam's numbers?
He did 398 for the first one and then 400 for the second one. So he actually did more. He did more for the second one. Yeah.
Let me
No
guess.
wonder
Cork.
he's good at winning bike races. He's better as
his
he gets
power
more
goes up
fatigued.
as he gets
Yeah.
fatigued. That's a good trait to have.
This is what he said. I think I was just being a pussy on the first one.
I would agree.
Which I concur.
Sounds like it.
Nice. You still beat him on both of them, though.
Yeah, but he went faster than me. So he put out less power and went faster.
How does that make you feel?
Pretty sad.
Yeah.
So Adam went. So most people, when they go hard, they do what Drew does, which is they just lock their elbows and forget that aero matters when you're biking. That's like most people. So this isn't even throwing shade at Drew. That's just what most people do. Adam is the opposite. When Adam is going hard, he's like bent over.
Yeah, he has got
I
a
feel
really
like
good. I like his position
that's
on the bike a
normal.
lot. He
I was
looks
doing
really
that.
He just rides in the drops all the time. Like
I was doing that on the
No.
trainer. I was going hard on the trainer. I ended up like getting lower, even though you're not even fucking moving.
All right. Well, you've got the same genetic defect that Adam Robert has, I guess.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well,
Could
for
you
bike
feel
racing,
your
it's
fan
good.
increasing in speed, Scott? As you bend over more,
I don't
does
use
it
a
just
fan. What do you think? Who do you think I am?
You pansy? Nah, don't fan. Come on. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tyler, were you pretty smoked? Like, could you have gone faster? What was your time? 4:28?
4:36 according to the chip time. Yeah.
What did you text us
4:34 was my rush.
4:34? You liar.
Well, this is what Athling says, so they added 2 minutes to my time.
Yeah, it's exactly what Drew does when he texts us his FTP.
Yeah.
Listen, if I go to Garmin,
Except for
maybe
I
I'll
don't text you my FTP. Only a loser would do that.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't text us your
As if
FTP because
my
it's
num-
not
as if, like,
impressive.
As if every other person doesn't have a higher FTP than I do.
Dylan, didn't you just make a video about how FTP doesn't matter?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but what does matter is that he still did 400 watts 4 hours in.
Dude, there are people
Well, what does
getting-
matter is that Roberge was going faster than him. That's what actually matters. Is how
That's
fast
actually
you
what.
go.
That's very, very true.
Yeah.
That is
Who
100%
cares how
accurate.
much power you
Doesn't
do?
even matter.
Yeah.
True. Also, Roberge weighs more than me somehow. Like he weighs more. He did less power. He went faster.
So does
Dude,
he
that
beat
happened-
you in these gravel races, or do you beat him?
I think last year I actually beat him in more races than he beat me.
Dude, the one year at Nepomuk Gnarly, when I got second and Adam got first, I did more power than Adam did for 5 hours.
Okay,
'cause he was coasting in
one
the
thing
group.
that I want to say is that Adam uses Garmin pedals, and I feel like his power meter reads low.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's true. Those pedals probably read like 30
Or
watts low.
yours reads high, like the rest of the world knows.
Gotta get
Corks
him
Yeah,
some
but
read
like-
high.
cork.
No,
Corks
dude,
read high.
cork. Okay,
Who
all right,
cares?
all right.
Dude,
Get a
didn't
cork.
who was it? Scott? Who sent that?
Me.
DJ sent the analysis of comparing all the different power meters, and the cork was like spot on. It was the
Yeah.
most accurate.
Yeah, cork is like one of the most accurate power meters.
What is
I don't know
accurate,
what Scott's
though?
talking.
What's accurate?
What do you mean?
What is
What are they
accurate is
comparing it
how,
to?
Power 2 max or whatever 4i would have been on there.
What's the like? What are they? What's right? How do they know?
right
who's
is like absolute the correct power.
What
How
do
are
you
they
mean? What's
measuring
right,
it?
Scott?
With a cork? Probably.
He's not gonna let us have this one.
Whatever. I don't
Cork's
know.
read high.
We'll have to look at the study.
Yeah, that's why Jonathan Milan can do 2,000 watts because it's on a cork.
If I knew that a certain power meter read high, I think I'd buy that one. I think I'd want that one.
Everyone
That's
else's
an
except
amazing
mine
selling point.
power
Ours
meters
reads 20
read
watts
high.
higher.
Well, you have
If they
a
just
cork,
market
right?
it like that, that'd be great. More people would probably buy it.
Yeah.
Scott, have you ever had a
Instant-
cork?
10% improvement in FTP.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You want more watts?
That's what we should do for
Use our
ignition.
cork.
We should partner with cork, and every single ignition athlete gets a cork.
At immediate 5%
Dude,
increase.
Maybe like 3 months in. You got to have that
good call.
delayed gratification.
Good call.
Yeah.
And you got to let them know, like, the 5% wasn't because of the cork. It's because of the coach.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. So you got to wait a little bit before
You got to supply them with a 4 eyes in the beginning and then say, hey, you got upgraded to a cork.
Is the 4-eye one leg or both legs?
You can get both.
You can get both.
Are the Garmin pedals dual or single?
Same thing. You can do one or two.
Yeah, Adam has both pedals power.
Yeah. Dual is always better, right? I mean,
yes.
Always.
What you should have done, Dylan, is put his power meter pedals on your cork, and then you could have compared the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what I wanted to say to the listeners is do not buy a single leg power meter. Like, you're looking at it like, oh yeah, I'm going to save some money. I'm going to get a single leg. Don't do it. Just spend a little extra money, get the dual sided one. Like, everybody has a power imbalance with their left and right leg, and you're screwing yourself if you get a one-legged power meter. Do not buy a one-legged power meter.
Why are you screwing yourself?
Because the amount that the deviation between your left and right leg is not constant. Like, sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. And then if you ever switch to a dual-sided power meter, you don't know, like, whether or not, if you're comparing to your past self.
And when you stand up with a single-sided, it does weird things. Like mine never read correctly when I would stand up. I think I had one for like a month. I was like, this thing sucks. And I
do not buy a single leg power meter. I know it's like a little bit cheaper, but come on.
Not worth it.
Not worth it.
I agree.
Yeah, especially with how accessible power meters are these days.
Yeah.
Also, don't buy Garmin
you can't even
pedals.
buy a SRAM chainring without buying a power meter.
True. Yeah, you can't even ride your bike without one now.
Yeah.
No, but you can go to Bike Tires Direct and get whatever power meter you want. So that's nice.
Yeah, they got corks on there.
Yeah.
So
4 eyes too.
Speaking of the Mid-South double or triple or whatever, the Mega.
The Mega. Yeah.
Did you guys follow Ted and Chase? Their
No,
little
dude, I
showdown?
only talk about people that actually finish the race. Let's talk more about me. Okay.
It was fun. It was funny that Ted didn't know that Chase was doing it until Ted was about to start. And then, like, I guess Bobby and those guys were like, oh yeah, by the way, Chase is going to start right behind you. So
and then Ted was like, oh shit, dude, I should have put aero bars on.
In his videos, he was flipping out. He was like, this kid's going to.
I don't know what's going on. What happened? They did the race.
So Mid-South 100 on Saturday got canceled because of wildfires and crazy stuff.
I got that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on Sunday,
Scott, Mid-South is a gravel race in Oklahoma. I don't know if you've heard of it.
where there's a lot of red dirt.
Red dirt, yeah.
So Ted King and Chase Wark both decided on Sunday they were going to do this 300-mile route that's dubbed the Mega Midsouth.
They just dropped
it's 300.
I thought it was 350.
No, it's 300.9.
Okay. It was just dropped like last August or September. And then they did a big, they did like an official start or unofficial start back in, I think, September. And a bunch of people went down there to try it. I had a guy that I coached that went down and attempted it.
But it's like a big route that they started, and then they have a course record. They call the FKT. And basically anyone can go.
Stands for fastest known time.
Yeah, I got that part.
So Chase and Ted both decided that on Sunday they were going to do the Mid-South Mega 300-mile route and try and go for the FKT and raise money for all the people
which
in
they were
Oklahoma
easily
going to
get
homes now.
Yeah,
Well, the FKT before they started was like 22 hours, which is slow. So they for sure were going to get it as long as they finished. But they, for whatever reason, Chase decided to start an hour behind Ted. I don't know why. It would have been cooler if he started like 2 minutes behind Ted.
Yeah.
They should have just done a team time trial and shared it. Isn't that well within the spirit of gravel?
Ted was probably more prepared than Chase was. Like, Chase is a tinkerer. So like, he's constantly tinkering with his bike, like changing out his handlebars and changing out his pedals and changing out his wheels. So he was probably like putting his bike together the morning of the race.
Well, supposedly Ted knew before going to the Mid-South that he was going to do this on Sunday.
But Chase was telling me he was going to do it too. He had
so they both had.
Chase,
okay.
For me, he had already asked permission for his wife to stay an extra day and do it after the race. Like even if the race hadn't been canceled, Chase was going to do it.
Okay. So
he's
yeah,
going to
maybe
do it the day after. Jeez.
Yeah.
That they were both going to do it the day
Ted was
after, I
gonna do
guess.
that too, yeah.
Gee,
Yeah.
That's crazy. Imagine doing 2 events back to back. It's wild.
Wow,
Chase, the Good Life guy put it a good way. He said it was like this was Chase's bachelor party before he had his baby here in a few weeks.
That sounds amazing, dude. What a cool bachelor party.
Because he was like, this is like his last hurrah. Like Chase went out and bought like a full cowboy suit, like got a cowboy hat and blue jeans and showed up to one of the Mid-South parties wearing all this like cowboy get up. And then he was going to stay a day late and do the.
Oh, you're saying the whole Mid-South was his bachelor
like the
party.
whole weekend. Yeah. Was his.
Oh, I thought you meant just the 300-mile route.
No. Like the whole weekend was like Chase's last hurrah. Cause then here in a few weeks.
Why? Because his life's about to end when he has a kid?
That's what he's making it sound like that. I'm like, dude, I got 2 kids and I manage. Like,
yeah,
he's
you're
making it
still doing
sound
this
like
stupid
he's never
gravel
gonna
Yeah,
ride.
Drew goes to hang out at breweries still.
Yeah.
Only when he's forced to, because there's a house about to catch on fire.
So I thought that was funny.
Yeah, so Chase did text us and asked if we could shout out his fundraising effort. So they were racing the course, but they were also having this like competition for who could raise the most funds. And Chase is a little bummed that Ted is currently $1,500 up on him in the fundraising competition. So if you're out there and you want to help our boy Chase beat Ted King in the fundraising competition, you can send donations to Chase at his Venmo.
You can do it via Venmo, and
What's
you
his
can just
Venmo?
go to the Mid-South Grab.
Chase-Work.
You can also go to midsouthgravel.com, and there's a link there to Stillwater Wildlife Relief Fund right on the
wildfire
page.
Yeah.
Wildlife.
What did I say? Did I say wildlife?
You did say wildlife. That's okay.
Chase literally made that same
go
mistake in
hand.
one of his videos.
That's true.
Really?
Wildfire. My bad.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you got to let Ted get something. I mean, does Chase really need to take all the things that Ted's got going for him right now?
Something, man, dude. Chase
Ted did get something. Ted had the
world
FKT
tour
for a whopping 40 minutes before Chase came in.
And he had a world tour career. He's had plenty.
Yeah,
And he's got 2 kids.
And he's got 2 kids.
Chase don't even got 1 kid yet.
Dang.
Chase's life's about to end, so let's just give it to him.
Ted's been the king of gravel for a while. Chase is at his peak, you know? It's Chase's time.
How do you know he's at his peak? You don't know that you're at your peak until you decline.
Because he's asking to be on this podcast. That's how we know people are at their peak. Trying to
Is Chase asking?
Within our reach.
He can come on. He's cool.
No, I think he gets a kick out of us shitting on him every week.
Yeah, we do. I'm his teammate, and I give him so much crap on this podcast.
I did comment on his FKT effort. I said, if you did this on the trainer, it'd be done in like half the time.
True.
Yeah, is the air density on Swift like the lowest on the planet or something?
Something like that.
I feel like you like ride way farther on Swift than you would outside.
Yeah, I think it just matters what gear you put it in.
Yeah. I don't think that any Zwift miles should count towards your total Strava miles at the end of the year.
Fact.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to talk about the other bike race that's going on?
There's a lot of other bike races.
Okay, well, what other one do you want to talk about?
I don't know. Should we talk about how wrong our predictions on Cape Epic were?
I saw that yesterday.
That's what I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
You mean your
What do you mean our?
Yeah, what are you talking about? Our predictions.
Yeah.
Wow, it's such a shocker that Nino's winning. Oh, what do you didn't like win any world championships or anything. He was like the greatest mountain biker of all time. Oh wow, I'm so surprised that he's winning.
Okay, damn.
Sometimes you are as dumb as you look, Dylan.
Keep going, Scott. Just keep
You have to admit that was like a
great.
pretty safe call. Well, and anything could happen. Like it's a long race, but like that was a pretty safe call to think that Keegan and Matt Beers would win.
I mean, it's not a
You
bad
said
bet, but I feel like
easily. You made it sound like they were going to smoke everybody.
the safe
That's what I
call
thought.
is Nino.
Yeah, but Nino always ends up with like a teammate that's not up to snuff.
Did you know who his teammate was before the start?
No.
Okay, so
I'll be honest, I still kind of don't know who his teammate is.
I had no idea. I clicked on his.
I know, but I'm just
page
saying, I hardly know who that is.
does he ride for Q36? Or is that
Colombo? I think it must be
Tom
somebody
Pidcock.
else.
No. There's some other guy, mountain biker. Maybe
I don't think so. But yeah, they're getting steamrolled.
What place are they in
honestly, I mean, they're only 3 stages in, and I kind of hope Keegan listens to this and maybe gets fired up because it would be cool to see a comeback. But they are in like 10th place.
5th place after stage 2.
Dang, Dylan was way wrong. Holy crap. I assumed they were in 2nd.
9 minutes down.
Yeah.
After three stages.
Dude, Keegan is washed.
So
I bet Matt is like dropping him.
So, at Valley.
He said that he was.
At Valley of Tears, Keegan's bike clogged up with mud and he had to get it unclogged, which is why he got 11th. Wow. So if you ask Chase, and I don't know if I should say this on the pod, this might create some beef.
No, it wasn't Chase. It was that other guy.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. The Stork. That Stork guy.
Yeah. If you ask that other guy, he says that Keegan didn't get dropped because his bike got clogged. He said Keegan got dropped because he was tired.
That's what Adam said too.
Okay, well, let's not call out specific people.
Why? Because we're afraid that Keegan's going to come after him.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, they think that Keegan was just straight up tired and he got dropped, and then he made up something about how his bike got clogged. Which, to be fair, everybody's bike was getting clogged, so it could have been getting clogged maybe more or less than other people's. But
yeah, but why didn't Tobin's bike get clogged? He's got the same exact bike and the same tires.
Yeah, you do make a good point, and he's heavier.
Didn't get tired
because Tobin could just say he got tired. That's not expected. Keegan can't say, "Oh, I got tired," because that would be against the typical Keegan way.
Why doesn't Keegan do this with Tobin?
Do what?
Tobin's not good enough.
Cape Epic, because that would be
he's trying to win, bro.
Yeah, dude, he's trying to win the thing.
That would be, yeah, that would suck.
I don't even think Tobin would let him do that.
I don't think Tobin would want to do it.
How many stages are there? Are there 7 stages to this race?
I think so.
Tobin should have done it with Alexis.
Probably would be
right.
Good matchup.
Yeah,
I see that L'Esperance and Rob Britton are doing it as well.
How are they doing?
They're in 32nd place.
Killing it.
50 minutes
Cape
back
Epic stacked.
Yeah, dude. The most stacked
Keegan's
mountain bike race in the world.
And Andrew L'Esperance is in 32nd. Like, I didn't even know there were
Wild
that many
Zach
fast
Carlton.
mountain bikers.
And after 3 stages, they're only 40 minutes down.
Drew, did you just say I didn't know there were that many
name
fast
more than
mountain
I couldn't name 5 fast mountain bikers. I swear. I got Keegan and Matt Beers and Nino.
It's like an actual Olympic sport now, like gravel.
I don't watch any mountain biking.
Who did you say was Zach Carlton's doing it?
Zach Carlton and Alex Wild are a team.
What's their team name?
In 50th place.
Cyclesport.com. They're in 33rd.
They're in 33rd. They're right behind.
Yep. Minute behind Lesby and Rob Britton.
Yeah, as far as other lifetime Grand Prix athletes, I think last I checked, isn't Sophia and her teammate in first?
Did you
her teammate?
I can't remember who her teammate was.
Also the GOAT?
Annika Langvad.
Yeah.
Who went and became a dentist and had a kid and then said, yeah, I guess I'll come back to Olympic mountain biking and just crush everybody. Did you guys listen to...
And they are crushing it. They're at 9 minutes on second place.
Did you guys listen to the Grodio podcast where Sophia was from Valley of Tears, where Sophia was interviewed about the race and then doing Cape Epic?
I don't listen to other cycling podcasts.
We don't even promote other cycling podcasts.
Dylan only listens to his own voice.
Watch YouTube videos on repeat.
All right, so tell us about it.
Sophia was interviewed. Bill interviewed Sophia, asked her how the race was, and then asked her about Cape Epic. And I won't quote verbatim because I don't remember, but basically she said, I've never had a teammate that pushed me all the years that I've done it. And I really am looking forward to riding with Annika because she's always pushed her teammates, which I thought was an interesting quote to single-handedly shit on your teammates, previous teammates. And also say, I hope that some Annika Langvad will maybe be up to snuff.
When she says push, does she mean like physically
That's what I
pushes
was
them up the
thinking.
hills or pushes them like to ride
I think she
harder?
was saying that basically every teammate that she's had before was a weight for her to win her second Cape Epic title.
It sounds like she's
Pulling her
picking
down.
bad teammates.
Yeah.
So I say this every time we talk about Cape Epic, but can we please drop the teammate thing? It makes it
No.
like
No.
why no?
No, it's
Why
the
no?
thing. It is what it is.
Yeah, dude.
If you
Can
drop
you
it,
stop
then it just
driving-
becomes another mountain bike race and nobody cares about it.
Can
Why
we
would
stop
nobody
the
care about it?
5-paragraph
I would-
essay after every gravel race?
Did you watch
you guys have to write?
Did you
Yeah.
watch the Vail mountain bike
Seriously.
race that happened this weekend? The UCI race?
What? No, dude.
Exactly.
I don't think it's the
Because
teammate
nobody
thing that makes it interesting. I think if anything that makes it less interesting, because then you don't know who the strongest rider in the race is. You know who the two strongest riders that happen to pick each other are.
Maybe there's more to bike racing than just who's the strongest.
No, dude, there's not. That's what matters.
Teammate, love, companionship,
Camaraderie. I don't think
friendship.
Dylan's ever felt
Camaraderie.
camaraderie before in his life.
Yeah, doesn't care.
Or any kind of like,
But like, don't.
He did for a
the
brief
thing with
moment at the
Cape Epic
brewery,
is like
at the Cloud, whatever,
no.
Stone Cloud Brewery in
He
Mid-South.
only came there because he had to drop somebody's stuff off.
Perfect.
like the thing with Cape Epic is that, I don't know, a team will be doing well and then like one teammate gets sick and then the other teammate is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to deal with this bitch right now. You know what I mean?
I think that's
I
what
think
adds
that's
to
what
the
you
drama.
would feel, but most people don't feel that way.
I think they do because you can see it on their face when it happens.
Clip
So,
everything
I'm sure
that
they're
Dylan
disappointed,
just
but
said
they're
and
like-
put it into the context of marriage, and this is why Dylan might never end up married. You just got sick, and now I'm not dealing with this.
Good luck with that.
Screw you.
Yeah, but when you are successful, it feels better to be successful with somebody else.
Also, I disagree with that. It feels good to be solely responsible
But
for
you're
your
like all
success.
You've
about
never had a
you,
teammate.
in life. Yeah, you're all about
You've never
Dylan.
had a teammate.
Dude, Adam Roberge, he's his teammate.
Yeah, but do you guys have like a plan going into the race?
No, we don't have a plan.
Yeah,
No, I'm pretty sure they're probably
You just wear the same shirt.
they're just arguing all the time. That's all I saw. We all got dinner on Thursday night.
Oh, yeah.
And like
I started
Dylan
that.
mentions one thing about cholesterol, and then all of a sudden,
Okay,
Adam
I'm
is
not
like,
the one who
absolutely not.
No, no,
Dylan
no.
is wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Dylan-
I
We,
want
on our side of the table,
to
we
take
just
this
went back
opportunity to say
and had
that
our own
I
conversation.
don't bring up diet conversations ever. Other people bring them up and then they're like, why are you even talking about this, bro? I'm like, I'm not.
We were having
Yeah.
a good conversation about it, and then
I
all of a
think I
sudden, you
brought it
guys
up.
just started arguing.
And then Adam, but this is what Adam will do. He'll make his argument, but he won't have evidence to base it back. But he won't budge. But he won't budge either. So like Dylan is telling him like, oh, there are studies that say this, and Adam's just like, no,
Absolutely not.
but Adam doesn't have as much evidence to prove his side, but he just will not back down. So then it was like a brick wall and a brick wall, and they wouldn't stop arguing about cholesterol the entire dinner. And I was sitting in between both of them. So I couldn't even like
Actually,
transition
you know
to
who-
another. I couldn't even enjoy a conversation with Tyler because I was stuck between the two of them.
Actually, Dizzle, you know who brought it up? It was you.
I know. I
You're
brought
the
it
one who
up and
brought
I
it up.
regret it. I did not know that's how it was going to. I didn't know that's how it was going to go. If I knew that's how it was going to go, I wouldn't have even said anything. And Adam was siding with me, and I was like, all right, this is enough. Adam, you just need to shut up.
I was like, dude, if somebody's siding with me, they're going off the deep end. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish there were actually more of these 2-man/2-woman/2 teammate races in the U.S.
No.
Do we not
Disagree.
have any?
They're very popular in internationally.
Are there any in the US?
Not that not that I know of. Even Breck Epic doesn't have I don't think they have a duo category.
I thought they used to.
But it's not even like a duo category. Like Cape Epic,
You have to do
you
it.
have to have
as a
teammate.
double.
There's no
Right.
single option.
Right. I just think it makes the race more tactical.
Mm-hmm. I think Transylvania Epic has maybe a duo category, but
Just think about it, Dylan.
category.
You could not only optimize your bike, you could optimize someone else's bike.
Yeah, but like, dude, it's just it just irks me when like I think
Wouldn't you feel honored though if someone stronger than you invited you to be their teammate?
Keegan. If Keegan,
What if Keegan reached out to you and was like, "Hey, you know what, dude? I really want to do Cape Epic with you."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would
Our
you do it?
tattoos are so. Our
Would you be like-
tattoos are
I
so
watch
Would you be
cool.
like, "Nah, dude, I'm gonna do it solo"?
I'm not saying I would never do Cape Epic. Like I would do it. I wouldn't be stoked about the whole teammate thing, but I would do it.
Only if you could clone yourself. Is that the way that you would do it? As soon as they
The
come
only
up with a
person
good way to
willing to
clone
put
myself.
up with Dylan would be a clone of Dylan.
So there's no one here in agreement with me that the team Cape Epic thing needs to go.
No, I think
that's
it's
just
unique.
the way the race is. Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
There's a bunch of other
Nothing
mountain bike
is the
races
way
in
it
the
is.
world.
Everything can be changed at any minute.
It is true. You make a good point, but you're still wrong. No, I think like everybody here, besides you, Dylan, agrees that the paired race does add an element. It does suck when somebody gets sick, but I think that's also why you see a lot of these teams kind of iterating on it year after year, where like probably 6 years ago, did they all have their individual campers and like their own little village for every team? Probably not, but they've kind of figured out that like, hey, if this is a race that's important to us, then we need to take care of every possible detail. So there is a puzzle that needs to get figured out. And if you have a teammate that's, strong as you, then you can play tactics. Like watching, was it 2 years ago when Blevins and Beers were racing together and they would just like 1-2 the group. It was like fun to watch the finish of that race. So I don't know. I think it's like the only, there's obviously paired races in Europe, but it's the only, I'd say the biggest duo race that exists. And so different from the UCI mountain bike World Cup circuit.
So, all right. So you just brought up the fact that Matt Beers has won this race with Chris Blevins and with Howard Gratz.
Mm-hmm.
I think Keegan is washed.
Yeah, because Howard Gratz is not on the same level as Keegan. You know what I mean? Like, no offense to Howard, but
although when you're sucking wheel on Matt Beers, though, maybe he is.
Yeah, but why can't Keegan suck Matt Beers' wheel?
Because he got dropped at Valley of Tears.
You think he's overtrained?
I mean, I think it's a serious question, though. Do you guys think that something's going on with Keegan?
Yeah, dude.
Well, he did win. He did win BWR Arizona. So
yeah, he sprinted Rusty at the line for it.
So that's an interesting. Do you think you were saying a couple weeks ago that Rusty's back? Are you now saying that Keegan is washed because Rusty is not in fact back?
Maybe.
I
mean, maybe it's a combination. Maybe
it could be a combination.
Closing the gap from both ends.
It'd be sweet if Keegan didn't have a year where he won everything. It would be way more exciting.
I mean, it would suck for Keegan, but it'd be probably more exciting for everyone else.
Sacrifice his winning streak for the enjoyment of the cycling world.
I mean, I think if there's ever a year for somebody else to take the Grand Prix on the men's side, it would be this year because they took out 2 altitude races and Keegan is a genetic freak at altitude. So he's just going to win every altitude race. So he's going to win Leadville, but I think that's the
I don't know, dude. It doesn't. If you ask me today, I would say maybe he wouldn't.
No, dude. He'll win Leadville, but I think that's the only race of the Grand Prix where it's like guaranteed that Keegan will win.
Yeah. He's
Like
still never won Big Sugar.
Yeah, and Little Sugar has come down to a sprint finish with Matt Beers the past 2 years. Like, I feel like Matt Beers could easily take that, you know?
Dude, how does he stay so strong for so much of the season? It's ridiculous.
Which one?
Who?
Matt Beers. Like
He's
he was
just strong, dude.
Well, I mean, we won Cape Epic last year, and then in October he's still like crushing it.
No, in October he's prepping for Cape Epic.
Good point. Good point.
You beat him at Unbound, didn't you, Dylan?
That I did.
So he sucked
And
at
Keegan.
Unbound. If Dylan beat him, he sucked.
They both sucked at Unbound.
That means everyone sucked except for 9 people.
So do you guys want to talk about Perry Nice or no?
Yeah,
Team
we
America.
should. We should talk about Barry.
I haven't caught up on it yet.
All right, well, we're going to give you a spoiler alert, Drew.
Yeah, I think I might have already saw.
Magnus Sheffield took stage 8.
He won a stage. Is it over yet?
It is over.
Well,
It was over yesterday.
Yeah.
So who won the overall?
Matteo Jorgensen.
Yeah, I think I saw
Matt.
that.
He'll call him Matt.
Do you
His
think they
American
went
name.
into the race racing for Matteo or for Jonas?
I think it was a dual leadership situation. Because Jonas crashed on stage 5 or stage 6. He hit the deck.
Okay.
And just like was at the back of the peloton. Then he didn't start the next day. And then Jumbo did like a team time trial through the echelons and just like dunked on everybody. That was kind of cool to watch.
They also did a team time trial in the team time trial.
Scott.
Thank you for that, Scott.
They did the funky format where you have like your own time.
The
You
new
start
format.
the team time trial, but you can like, usually it's like your 5th guy that crosses the line is the whole team's time or whatever. But this is everyone's individual time.
Oh, okay. I kind of like that. Dylan should definitely like that.
Dylan would love that.
Because if you've got that
Just
boat anchor
drops
on the
all
back,
of his
just drop him.
teammates.
Yeah.
Dylan would just try to drop everyone off the line because he'll think he'd be stronger than the rest of the teams instead of using them.
Why would I
He'd be on his own pacing
I was
strategy.
wondering, because they, I saw only 2 of them came to the line together, and I was wondering what was going on there. But that makes sense now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
so
I think they're going to do it in the Tour de France 2026 or something.
So
Yeah,
how do you
previously-
determine who wins the team time trial?
First
It's
rider,
It's still
Yeah.
individual.
Fastest rider across the
well, your
line.
team still
just the
wins
first
the
rider.
individual
So think
race.
about it as it's a time trial. You just get to use your teammates to help you get there.
Yeah. And so
Yeah, but on the results sheet, it's not like individual
teams,
riders. It's still teams.
Oh, it is.
That's what I'm saying.
But your
Like, if it's a team
GC
time trial, then they
is your
have to have a
individual
team time
time.
trial podium, and the whole team goes up for the podium.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so the team time is based on the first rider to cross the line.
Yeah,
Not
That's
the
what I
fifth.
was trying to determine.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I didn't. Yeah, I
I'm
missed
pretty
that.
sure.
I didn't.
Am I wrong, Tyler?
I don't know.
Tyler will actually
know.
know this, but
Yeah.
he'll let us
That's what I was
explain
trying
the wrong
to determine.
answer
Because
first,
then
and
if you've got the fastest guy, but you could still like use your teammates to make him go even faster.
We've never been more confused about a race format than right now.
That's fine.
What about
It's good for engagement.
gravel?
Tell us how wrong we are. What if I have a suggestion for the Lifetime Grand Prix? Make the entire Grand Prix a duo series.
I would stop doing it. I would stop doing it, dude.
And you don't get to pick your partner. What
You
if
just
they
think-
picked?
no,
What if they
no, no.
picked your partner?
No, you get to pick your partner. So it could be Dylan and Adam together, and Drew and Chase, and Keegan and
We aren't
Tobin.
in the Lifetime GP, buddy.
Well, just hypothetically in this made up fantasy world where you got it into.
That
Or
would
it's
actually
like
make it
a-
interesting if Keegan had to race with Tobin. Now the series just got interesting.
Snap. Oh, snap.
Or it's like the
He'd be
NFL
getting
where
himself
the
a new
worst
teammate.
rider
Tobin would be
drafts,
cut immediately.
gets a first pick.
Oh yeah,
next
like
year.
a reverse draft.
Cool. So Logan
Oh,
Owen
yeah.
gets to pick a teammate.
Well, do you
Sucks
want
for
to
that
pick Keegan
teammate.
and just suffer the whole year and hate your life? Or do you pick someone who's like kind of like slightly better than you that,
Like the 5 or 6 seed, The
you know, I
someone
wouldn't pick
mediocre.
is Dylan because he would just drop you and then leave you, and then
Why do you think I would?
What are you like? Oh, I was stronger than you, so I'm the winner, even though you're not.
Why do you think I would do that, Scott? Like, if I was in Cape Epic, I would play by the rules of Cape Epic. I'm just saying I don't like the rules of Cape Epic. It's okay to not like the rules of a race and then still play by them when you're in the race.
I don't like any rules, actually. So, yeah.
You're right. Yeah. Well,
what if they paired people based on like drama? Like
Real Housewives of the Lifetime Grand Prix.
Who doesn't? I don't know. Like who doesn't get along in the?
Like you and anybody.
I know.
In the
I was basically me and anybody else.
Dude, you and Kyle Trudeau.
Yeah, me and Kyle Trudeau. That'd be a good partnership right there.
The whole time he'd just be yelling at you to pull through.
No, dude, I ain't pulling. What's your FTP?
You're my teammate right now.
My teammate's up the road.
Does anyone do that in gravel? Like have an actual teammate and use it as like a tactic?
Yeah, they're starting.
Or is it just you wear the same clothes and just post about each other?
They're starting to do that. They're starting. Team tactics are making their way into gravel.
They should.
Didn't that happen in Unbound? Didn't Chad talk about that in Unbound last year? Kind of leveraging having Simon or somebody else up the road.
Well, no, Chad was the one up the road, and then all the other Pano.
Yeah, remember
guys.
it fooled Dillman, dude. He thought he was back in the lead group.
I know it did, because like, dude, they all have those brown kits, and I don't.
Oh, is that when Dillman didn't want to release the episode because he was so wrong?
Yeah, I was.
Delete it. Delete the whole thing.
The only time that didn't he?
He said we can't. He said we're gonna have
dude,
to delete
I almost released a video where I said all of that too, and then I like changed it at the last minute.
Oh, yeah, that would have been so good. Good thing your mom stepped in and helped you out there.
I think it'd be really interesting. I think the Lifetime Grand Prix should maybe listen to this podcast for once and take one of our suggestions to make it better.
Or you could do it by like weight, like the lightest and the heaviest pair up, and then like it go like so the guys in the middle are the same weight, and it would just kind of like because then you have different types of riders, you know, different tactics.
They could do all kinds of stuff. It'd be cool. I think just put a bunch of numbers in a hat and just random draw. That'd be awesome.
It could be random for each event, and then your actual time. Better. Like then Dillman can get his like solo winner. You know,
don't they do this in golf? Where they pair you up with a celebrity and you play like there's a celebrity and a pro playing together in golf.
Yeah, it's called the Pro-Am, but it doesn't count for anything.
Yeah,
let's just do count towards the actual results.
Yeah, let's just do that. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, dude.
We need to get some celebrities.
You guys, I could have the opportunity to be graced with your presence.
You know what we should all do is you can have a golf competition and there can still be fun interacting between the golf shots. You can't really like have fun interactions on the bike if you're racing.
That's what I was saying. Like, how do you convince somebody like, I don't know, like, I can't think of somebody famous right now. How do you convince Kim Kardashian to come do the Unbound 200?
That's who you picked.
Dude, I was just thinking the most famous person I could think of.
You know what?
How do you get her to come and do?
How about instead of racing our bikes, we just like hold hands and hug each other? That sounds better. You know what I mean?
At the brewery,
like do something productive for the rest of society. Like
I would do a bike race
or some shit.
I would do a bike race with Matthew McConaughey.
Selfish fucks.
No, but, Scott, listen.
Yeah, we all know we're not going to do
that. Yeah. Okay, are we done talking about Paris-Nice or what?
We didn't really talk about it.
Yeah, I didn't think we talked
other
about it.
Other than the fact that the Americans won.
Yeah. You think Jorgensen has it in him to win a Grand Tour at some point?
I think that's the goal, isn't it?
I don't know. I think it's the goal, but the question is it going to happen, you know?
He's such a versatile rider, but like if you watched him in the early stages of Paris-Nice, he was like the only Jumbo rider in the top 5 wheels. You would watch, like, he almost would just race solo the whole time. And maybe that's just a learned behavior. Maybe it's just how he's approaching the race, but like he would cover moves. He was always just up in the mix. Whereas you looked And like the rest of the Jumbo riders were kind of scattered throughout the peloton. So I think in order to win a Grand Tour, you really need to leverage your team, and maybe he could fall into that role, but also he seems pretty proficient at positioning himself and always kind of being in the spot where he needs to be in the race. But, you know, that wears on you over 20, 21 stages.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe his team just wasn't, you know, good this week. Or you know, like the last stage, he was isolated with when the TV started. He was by himself already.
Yeah, I mean, how much of that though is riding for 7 stages and sleet and snow and wet weather?
So, according to his team's director, he says, I think it's possible one year he could be on the podium of a Grand Tour, but winning a Grand Tour, that will be a really huge challenge. So, sorry.
Wow, the team director
doesn't even believe in him.
Dang.
They said that it's because his height. He's 6'3", which is considered unusual for Grand Tour winners.
That's unusual. It doesn't mean it won't happen. You know?
I mean, Brad Wiggins.
Just take some aero tips from Adam Roberge.
For real, dude.
He does make a good point, though. Can't think of that many really tall dudes.
How tall was Bradley Wiggins?
Yeah, but he was
I don't know.
twig. Did Jan Ulrich ever win the Tour?
Yep.
How tall was he?
Or was he just second?
Bradley Wiggins, 6'3".
Yeah, there we go, dude.
Okay, so this guy's just wrong.
Jan Ulrich was only 6 foot.
Oh, okay.
I don't like. Is he? I'm assuming this guy is worried about, I don't know, when you get into the high mountains in any of these Grand Tours, like Jorgensen's not going to be able to, like, he's going to lose massive time in those stages or something.
Maybe.
I think when it comes down to like power to weight, you know, if Jorgensen he has a bigger frame compared to Jonas or Pogačar.
So procedures? He is 67 kilos, dude. That's hefty.
Yeah, huge.
There's probably procedures where you can get shorter.
Yeah, dude. Get shorter. He probably doesn't need kids.
Yeah.
Just lop that thing off.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that maybe I think he's having fun right now. He's, like I said, he could win a one-day classic, and then he can go and win Paris-Nice for a 7-day stage race, you know, and he can still be up there in the Tour in the top 10. So I don't know. It's kind of cool to see these, I think, younger guys be a lot more versatile. Whereas, I don't know, it was always boring. You watch Froome or Wiggins or even like Jonas to a degree. They only show up at stage races. They like, you know, they're just as bad as some of you gravel racers with your like, oh, I can't have fun. I only got to do this and I got to win this particular race. And then you watch guys like Tade.
We don't win anything, Tyler.
Yeah. I mean, you watch guys like Tade who will rock up to a Tour of Flanders and then win the Tour 4 months later. And it's just, I don't know, it's exciting to see some versatility from riders again, as opposed to just very cut and dry.
Do you think that riders always had that versatility ability, but they just never really deployed it because they were too sole focused on Grand Tours?
It seems like specialization in the peloton became a thing probably in the last 5 to 10 years. Like you started to see guys go away from doing one-day races and also Grand Tours or be competitive in Grand Tours. But I think after COVID, the racing kind of changed where, you know, some of these guys are like, again, Tade, who's a rare specimen, but he's competitive in Flanders, in MSR, you know, Liège, et cetera. But then he also can win a Grand Tour just because he's that good.
So Tyler, the criticism that you're raising, I would say a lot of that applies to the Chris Froome era and Chris Froome specifically. Can you imagine Chris Froome winning Flanders? I can't personally.
No, but you remember like when Wiggins and even Geraint Thomas was this way. Like Geraint Thomas came from the track and he was like kind of a one-day racer early in his career. And then he transitioned himself to be a Grand Tour stage racer, won the Tour, did pretty well in the Giro and other Grand Tour stage races, but he was solely focused on that. Like he never did Flanders or Roubaix. And then Wiggins, after his Grand Tour career, he tried to come back and like do really well at Roubaix. And I think he was maybe top 10. Mm-hmm. So it just seems like the demands were slightly different. To be a climber in the high mountains of Europe versus being a one-day racer, like 70 plus kilo truck, as it were, that just like motors over the cobbles and has durability.
Look at Ghana. He was second at Torino, GC.
Yeah, but like that was like a big part of his time. Like he did really well in the time trial, and then he kind of like didn't lose a bunch of time.
He also like sprinted for time bonuses and then was climbing really well.
Yeah. Maybe a threat for MSR this next week.
Probably.
Did Vanderpoel win a race this last weekend?
No, dude, he's washed.
Okay. Was that a few weekends? Has he won anything yet? I thought I saw a highlight of him.
Yeah, dude, winning, he won the race when I was live commentating on this podcast.
Oh yeah, okay.
He won.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, he did win the the French one-day race. He just like got he said something to the effect of like, if you feel the itch to race, you just have to go race. And then he kind of messed around with the peloton and dropped everybody in the sprint. But then after that, he hasn't really raced until Torino here.
In is prep MSR, for MSR. Milan-San Remo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is.
Got it.
Good job.
How long were you just thinking about that for like the last 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Good work.
Firm.
I'm sorry. It was the Saban Belgian Classic, not French.
Okay. Big deal.
Is MSR next going to be at MSR, or is Tade, Wout, Vanderpoel, Pidcock?
Wout's not going.
Wow. Okay.
Washed. Yeah, Philipsen is there. Vanderpoel is there.
Oh, Philipsen won last year, didn't he?
Matej Mohoric is there. I think he
also
did. Didn't he?
Work, Drew. Yeah, he won.
Yeah,
nice.
So you pay attention.
I do to certain things.
Is MSR next weekend? Like, should we make predictions now?
Yeah,
it's this Saturday.
It's this. Yeah.
All right, dude. We're a cycling podcast. Let's make some predictions.
Keegan's gonna win.
You say Pidcock, dude. Pidcock
if Keegan was in that race, he would for sure win. 100%.
Didn't Pidcock send it on the descent last year and almost go solo, and then they caught him like 200 meters before?
He's not on the start list.
Really?
Never mind.
Correct.
I'm already wrong.
Pidcock's not.
Hold on. Sorry. I was looking at Tudor. I can't remember which of these pro teams. Pidcock is on the start list.
Okay.
Tade? Is he on the list?
Let me see. Scroll down here. He is on the list as well.
It's pretty much every big rider except Wout, right?
Yep.
I guess like Matteo, maybe not. But.
Yeah, I don't know. Dude, I think if Milan gets over the climbs, actually, Mads Pedersen has looked so good.
Yeah, he was flying.
But there's that big climb at the end. Like, dude's a big boy. No way.
He beat Matteo up the mountaintop finish at Paris-Nice. He finished ahead of Matteo up a mountaintop finish at Paris-Nice.
Yeah, but was Vanderpoel or Tade there?
No,
those two are just so explosive.
He was climbing. I'm saying he's climbing really well.
I know, but that climb at the end of MSR is like an explosive climb. Like,
that's because that's how it's raced, though.
Yeah.
You think an explosive climb is bad for a sprinter?
I just mean like, I don't know.
The thing with MSR is like you have just like point up the profile again. I mean, the first big climb doesn't start until 100 kilometers in when they go over the Passo del Turchino, but then they have like the mini capo, the 3 capo leading into the Cipressa. and that's at 250K.
I think a cappuccino and an espresso and a triple.
So Pog is on the start list.
He is, yeah.
All right. I mean,
But
this
like,
is,
if he,
this is probably not a very out there prediction, but I'm going Pog.
He hasn't won it, has he? I don't think he's ever won it.
no, I don't think so. I mean, the Cipressa, so the Cipressa is 5K at 4%, and the Poggio, which is the final climb, is 3.6K at 3.7%.
Yeah, but the Poggio is always where the bombs are dropped.
Yeah.
Every year that I've watched it, that last climb on the Poggio is like amazing. It's so fun to watch.
I'm trying to see if he's won. Look up his results real quick to see if he's like won MSR before, just to verify. He is not.
Okay, so you're going Mads Pedersen.
Mads Pedersen is my pick.
All right. Do you guys have predictions or no?
I said Tony.
I'm going to go with Ghana.
I don't really make predictions, dude.
Dang, we're all
Scott
going
said
different.
Scott said he's climbing good. I mean, if he's climbing good.
Yeah, but you gotta sprint.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude, he won that sprint in Algarve. There was no one in the picture frame. He was that far ahead of the peloton.
He lost that sprint. The other guys are just on the side street going faster.
No, he didn't. He won the sprint.
Check the results, bro.
That was
Check
the one where
He
it
won the
split.
race. He lost the sprint.
Do you think
Scott's a race results consumer, okay, not a race results predictor. So he will.
Yeah, I just don't really care who wins, to be honest. I mean, I can just guess somebody, but
Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what a prediction is.
Nobody said
Scott, you
Vanderpool.
think we care who wins? Like, we're just trying to make a prediction here.
Yeah, how
Somebody
much no one
has
said
to say
Vanderpool?
Vanderpool.
Is that what you're going to go with, Dizzle?
No, I said Tom Pidcock.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's a good
no,
pick.
Peacock's not gonna win.
Yeah.
Okay.
all right, Scott, we're just,
Side shot, maybe.
waiting for your prediction, and then we can move on to listener questions.
We're
I
gonna
don't
sip
feel
his
like answering a
coffee.
listener question, so I'm going to draw this out as long as possible.
You guys have any? So this is the first year that MSR.
No, we're not going to
has-
let Scott off. Scott's got to pick someone.
I was going to give him the opportunity to start for the women's race if he wanted to.
I feel like we need to we need a bet on this. Like, we each need to put down like $20.
I
and
don't
whoever
bet.
We should start
I don't
each
bet.
betting
I have a
ring.
strong no betting policy.
No,
People
no.
who bet aren't content with what they have. And I am very content with what I have. And
Okay,
I'm not
fine.
betting
Dizzle doesn't have to partake. Let's bet a bottle of ketone.
What?
a bottle.
Ooh,
Dude, that's
a bottle.
It's
Dude,
worth-
We
I'll
all
give you-
have bottles of
I'll put the
ketones,
whole-
though.
I'll put the whole pack.
I know,
in there.
but if you start losing your ketones, I think you're going to be more pissed off than if you start losing $5.
I'll up the ante, and it'll be the 3-pack.
All right, a
the
3-pack, a
KETONEAID.
box of ketones.
Yep.
How about whoever like is the most
How much
wrong
does that stuff really?
gets kicked off the next pod?
Oh, I like that.
Like, whoever's rider is the last rider out of the ones we picked.
Well, that changes the predictions because
Yeah, I guess it does.
That's
You're
true,
right.
yeah.
You're
Like-
right.
yeah, you want
All
to
right,
pick like a
whoever
consistent guy.
wins, whoever's rider
Whoever
is,
wins gets to kick the next person off the island.
and if they want to kick themselves off, like Scott, if you want to kick yourself off, that's
But you
that's also
have to-
I'm probably
acceptable.
gonna do that anyways.
It's not the best rider. It's you have to pick the winner. So if no one picks the winner, then no one wins.
Okay, yeah, good call. Good call.
All right. So who are you going with, Scott?
I'll go with Phillipson.
All right,
That's a good guess.
sweet.
All right.
All right,
Okay.
women's
So now
race.
on to the women's race.
The women's race. First time.
Yeah, it's the first edition, right?
First edition of the women's Milan-San Remo. It is how many kilometers? It is 150K. So not too dissimilar from what the women will normally do in a race. They skip the Passo del Ticino, but they still finish on the Capomele, Curvo, Berta, Cipressa, and Poggio.
All right. Hitting that espresso climb. Let's go.
Double.
Yeah, so the top riders for this particular race are a lot of Kopecky. She's been out in the wilderness chopping wood, making maple syrup.
She's ready.
But you have a lot of Kopecky, Demi Vollring's in this race, Lorena Wiebes, but is a teammate of Kopecky. But you also have Mariana Voss and Elisa Balsamo, who had good results this past weekend at Alfredo Trofeo Binda.
Random question. Dang, I should have thought this through before I
forgot it.
During the Olympics, is that Kristen Armstrong? No.
Faulkner.
No. Kristen Faulkner?
Yes.
Does she race at all?
Yes.
Where is she? What does she do?
Besides win the Olympics?
Yeah, besides win the Olympics. I've never heard her name anywhere else. Is she do any of these races?
Yeah, she won.
Is she on a team that does these races?
Let's see her race results this year.
Act like you know, and you're just going to Google it. Come on. I look bad because I asked the question. Wow.
I didn't say anything about you. She has not raced this year. In 2025, she hasn't raced yet.
She races for EF.
Yeah,
she is on EF. Okay, actually, I think I knew that. Yeah, I knew that.
I was
Kristen Faulkner.
Oh,
yeah. They've got those Super Aero helmets.
Do they?
Yeah.
Do they do these races?
Yeah, they're doing it.
Yeah, she's
why
on
wouldn't
the
they
start
take their Olympic champion to these races?
She's doing it. She's on the start list.
Oh, okay.
All right,
well, there you go.
She's in the one spot.
Okay, guys.
Maybe she's been injured. Maybe she got sick. Maybe she has other goals that she's starting her season later. You don't know.
She's been training for it.
Is Dygert racing? Chloe Dygert?
Chloe Dygert is, but there's a descent, so she better watch out.
Wow.
Wait, who does Chloe race for?
Canyon SRAM. Chloe races for a team of one. Okay,
there she is.
She races for herself.
She's in the 4 spot.
She's dragging her teammates around.
What does that mean? The 4 spot. What do you mean?
She's number 44 instead of 41.
Yeah. Usually the rider that has the 1 digit on their bib is the leader.
The 1 spot
of the group.
Really?
All right. I'm going to go for a lot of Kopecky.
Real original there, Dylan.
Well, I also went for Pog with the mid, so
he's like, I'm also going to pick Keegan for the women's race as well.
Hey, you might have a chance.
All right, let's hear yours, Scott. Or are you going to waffle about it for an hour?
Well, I don't watch women's races.
I mean, you picked Jasper and he won last year. How original is that?
Well, I can't do that because it's the first edition.
All right, so who are you going to go with?
I don't know. Where's the start list? Where are you, Tyler?
I'll send it to you. I'll send it in the chat.
I think I'm going to go with, man, it's tough between Balsamo or Mariana Voss because they both looked really good this last weekend. And
if it's only 150K.
Balsamic, yeah, Elisa Balsamic Vinaigrette. She crushed it.
If it's only 150K, it changes it from the men's because the climb's actually not that hard. But after 300K, it becomes
Are they
harder.
still doing the Poggio? Like they end in the Poggio?
They do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they still do the Poggio. Dude, I'm going to go with Voss, the GOAT. She looked really good this last weekend, was climbing really well.
I'm going to go with Puck Peterson.
Oh, nice.
Real original.
I feel like for a road race, that's real original.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going with Kristen Faulkner's teammate, Allison Jackson.
Oh,
snap.
All right, Drew, it's your turn.
I think I'll go, is PFP doing it?
She is.
I'll say PFP.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, are you going PFP just to piss Tyler off?
Yeah, that's literally
She's going to get dropped.
All right. Oh, wow. PFP's in the 4 spot, too.
Dang. Good teammates.
Maybe the 4 spot is the real 1 spot.
All right, listener questions.
Are PFP and Voss teammates?
Yeah. Voss is in the 1 spot.
Dang, that changes things. I think I'm gonna have to go Voss.
Oh, you
already
can't,
picked
you can't
Voss.
change it now.
Well, I'm gonna pick Voss as well.
No, dude, you're locked in PFP.
All right, I'll say PFP.
Yeah, you're locked in PFP.
Voss something will happen to Voss, and
No
I'll have to-
takebacks.
I'll have to transition to their 4 spot.
Okay. This listener question comes from our Patreon supporter, Mole. Now that
Mole?
heat, that's what their name is.
Okay.
Now that heat training is a big thing, does that mean that all the wrestlers in high school were right when they wore trash bags on their runs?
I think Scott does that when he's on the trainer. It sounds like no fan just wears a trash bag, which
No,
is
I just don't
probably
ride hard enough to produce any heat.
Scott probably goes for runs in his waders.
They did do that though. They wore
Straight off the
wore
crabbing
trash
boat.
bags, dude.
You ever
I
try to
think-
walk through waist deep water in waders for a significant amount of time?
Probably get
chasing a
sweaty.
purple duck? It is hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. Why? Because you get sweaty.
And you got water resistance.
You just like the water resistance.
When
And
you
like,
say it's hard, what are you talking about?
Oh, that was classic Scott.
I forget what the question was.
It was about
bags.
trash bags and on runs. Dude, I knew people in high school that wore trash bags to class. They were cutting weight.
Yeah, I think I remember that. And
I
they'd
think
carry the
people thought
jug
that,
of
like-
they'd carry a gallon of water with them too. Remember that?
that
You
didn't make
can't-
any sense though. Like,
That doesn't make sense because you're trying to sweat out all your water weight. You shouldn't be replenishing it yet.
I just
Yeah, like
remember the
wrestlers
wrestlers
or-
and stuff would walk around with
I did
Maybe
that
when
for
they
pole
gallon.
vaulting.
When they weren't cutting weight, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
What are you saying? They wore trash bags for pole vaulting?
Well, like
Pole vaulting.
sometimes you can only use a pole that's rated for your weight. So if you
Oh.
want to use a certain pole, and you have to be below the weight rating of that pole. So
Wouldn't
you
it be
have,
the
like,
opposite? Wouldn't you want to use a more springier pole? So you'd want to use a heavier pole?
Well, the springier ones, you need to bend the thing. Like if you
Okay.
use one that's like rated for 180, but you're 150, you're just gonna run and it's just gonna be straight.
Oh, I see.
So you need it to flex.
So you want to be just inside of the weight rating.
Well, it depends
You want to be
on
the
your
heaviest
style.
end of the weight rating.
Depends on your style. That's what I
Okay.
thought.
Apparently, I didn't even know
Switched
there was
poles
style.
before the state championships. I was 7th in the state of Maryland. 7th best pole vaulter.
You
in the
pole
state of
vaulted?
Maryland. Yeah. 12
What?
and a
How
half
did we
feet.
never talk
Low
about
bar.
this?
12 and a half feet.
Aren't there like 15 people that actually live in Maryland? Everybody else lives in DC.
No, DC is like 10 by 10 square miles. Nobody
Dude,
lives there.
there probably are 15 people who pole vault in Maryland. That's actually probably accurate.
That's not true.
Dude, have you guys watched pole vaulting? Did you guys watch
Scott was a pole vaulter. Of course, he's watched it.
I didn't watch. I did it.
have you seen have you guys watched like any of Armand Duplantis's like his pole vaulting stuff?
No.
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 Tyler, you're the only one that would.
taking this off the way off pole vaulting.
We were just pretending to be interested in pole vaulting as a courtesy to Scott.
It doesn't even seem like it should be a real sport. Like it doesn't seem.
You know how many
it just
people say
seems
that about
totally
cycling?
random.
A lot.
A lot of people say that about cycling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least cycling is like hard. Pole vaulting doesn't even. I know it's
They're
hard.
all hard.
Yeah,
to be the
but
best
I know
pole
it's
in the world
hard,
is
but
hard.
like
Literally
not to a
anything.
physical level. It's
Think
just,
about
Yeah, it is. You know how fast you have to be?
Hmm.
It's like the perfect combination of
if you're
and
speed and
accurate,
power.
dude, you got to
Just
jam
do a
that
100
stick in a
meter
hole.
dash. Like you don't have to use a pole. Like just
You
run.
have to turn yourself upside down and throw
Then do
yourself
gymnastics
into the air.
Like it just seems like a weird. I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot of sports that are weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't make
A
them
pole
not
vaulter
sports.
might be like the perfect athlete of like speed and power.
Get out of here, Scott.
Strength,
Ridiculous
speed.
saying this crap to say the opposite of what I'm saying.
The amount of core strength you have to have.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay. Mole also sent in. Also, heat training and high altitude everything. Multiple camps per year, hotel rooms, tents are all the rage on pro cyclist social media. Both those things apparently affect your body in the same way as EPO. Are teams actually using these trainings for their purposes, or are they providing an excuse for why athletes' bio passports are changing? Ooh.
Oh, hot topic. Yeah, I think I've said that actually.
That they're doping, but they're just saying they're going to the sauna? Is that legit?
Well,
I could just I didn't have to build a sauna. I could have just doped. What? Why do you guys tell me this?
Yeah, so like they have the biological passport, and then if they go to altitude, they mark that, and if there's differences in their blood markers, they'll be like, okay, well they went to altitude.
Oh, okay.
But what this person is getting at is that could be a way around the biological passport. Like you could, you could take some EPO and then be like, well, I went to altitude, so that's why my blood markers are this.
Yeah, but I don't think the values change that much, do they? Like, can you get that big of a, like, is the stimulus the same?
That's what I was thinking. It was like a slight difference if you do altitude.
Yeah, I mean,
big difference if you
probably
do
have
EPO.
to take lower doses of EPO than, what Lance Armstrong was taking back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Are people actually, like, I know that you, Dylan, have talked about doing heat acclimation, particularly ahead of something like Unbound, but are athletes doing, like, do you do both, or do you only do heat training if you can't go to altitude?
I mean, a lot of people do both.
Yeah, I think they're doing both now.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And that's what this guy's or gal or whatever being is saying is that they're like combining high altitude and heat training at some of these camps
and drugs. That was his question. That's what he said.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess. Yeah.
Scott, what do you think the odds of that are?
I wasn't listening.
What? That they're doing drugs?
That they're doing drugs at an altitude camp.
Probably low.
Maybe they're just microdosing shrooms, dude.
Does that give you a performance boost?
Good. You should try it.
Yeah, you should try
Depends on what your definition of performance is,
Dizzle's going to start growing shrooms in his backyard before he even tries them.
I got these portobello mushrooms. I didn't do anything.
On point. I mean, like, that's on brand. I used my sauna for the first time last night.
And
how'd you feel?
It got up to like 160, Dylan. You and your 140, little pansy.
And you said it needs to be 180.
Yeah, I know. For some reason, it wouldn't get hot. I think I have to let it heat up longer. It got.
How long did you let it heat up for?
I guess till the circuit blew.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can. I think the dial goes a little more. I'll try to make it.
You should just never turn it off. Just keep that thing running all the time.
Yeah, dude.
It's more efficient.
Yeah.
Versus how did it feel, dude? How did it feel?
The first 10 minutes was like enjoyable, and then it got real hot.
Nice.
But it was like a good feeling. Yeah. I could do that. Yeah.
It's what people who have saunas try to convince themselves. Yeah, it felt good, I guess.
Like I could do it. It wasn't like so unbearable.
No shit, you're just sitting there. It's easy. No wonder you could do it.
I could feel my VO2 getting higher just sitting there. It was awesome.
Wow.
It's good, man. All right. So Rainer says, do y'all have any tips for bike handling techniques that are helpful when going to smaller handlebars with twitchier handling?
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't go to smaller handlebars.
I mean, if you have to handle your bike a lot, then I said this like last week on the podcast, or maybe it was on the Matchbox, but if the race requires a lot of bike handling and you're compromising that because you're narrowing your bars, then maybe don't do that.
You know what I will say? It's crazy how, I was on 35 wide bars last year, And then I just put these bars on that are 31. And when I the first ride on them, I was like, holy crap, these are way too narrow. Like, I'm not going to be able to get used to this. This bike handles like shit. This was a mistake. And I've been riding them for like a week and a half. And I'm like, dude, this is just normal now. This just feels like a normal bar now.
You've only had those for a week and a half?
That's a good point.
So you put them on right before Valley of Tears?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree. I had the same feeling when I went from 40s to 36s, and I still have 40s on my road bike, and I'm like, don't like them now because I've been riding my gravel bike.
Now they feel too wide.
Yeah, they feel too wide.
I think whatever change you make to your bike in the attempts to make your bike faster, whether that's narrower bars or whatever, you're gonna get used to it and it'll be fine.
Yeah, so, I think that the same thing.
Degree, I think.
The same thing applies to shorter cranks. I think a lot of people have concern that shorter cranks are going to feel really weird forever, but it's like 5 minutes in, you don't even notice it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Or like the Lao fork, when you first ride with the Lao fork, that thing feels like a noodle and you're like, I don't like this. And then, 2 hours in, you're like, yeah, I'm glad I have this thing.
Yeah. Did you notice any detriments in handling when you did the dirt crit?
I couldn't ride the bike for Valley of Tears, which I think I said last week, because I forgot a shim in my steer tube. So
this doofus paid $150 for overnight shipping for that little shim for his.
It was worth it, dude.
You had a whole week, and it cost $5 to do 3-day shipping. And you still would have had 4 days of extra time, and the race didn't even happen.
And the race
and you
canceled.
had a second bike, but you're like, nah, I need this shim tomorrow. Overnight that thing.
Well, I just wanted to be. I just wanted to be used to the bike by race day. Especially since the bike isn't exactly the same as my old
point I'm
bike.
making is that you are just so much about the money that you don't even care about $150. You're like, yeah, whatever, that's pocket change. Ship that on over.
What kind of shim are you talking? Couldn't you go to Home Depot and fashion one?
He doesn't have those skills.
It'll probably learn something too.
How did you forget a shim?
I don't know. Trey from Bicycle Station really screwed up.
Oh, Trey did.
He said that he said, "Hey, we got this shim here. You want to put it in there?" And you're like, "Nah, we don't need that."
No, yeah,
sounds like it was both.
It was my fault. It was my fault. Trey was like, "Do we need this shim?" And I was like, "I don't think so."
You guys also screwed up all your wheels, didn't you?
No, the wheels are fine.
Okay.
Trey built them good.
Okay, good. Good job,
Trey.
Trey.
Build them?
He's just saying that because he realized he just shat on Trey.
Yeah, he is. He's totally like, oh crap.
Those wheels are perfect.
They're probably going to charge me now.
Wait, why did Trey have to build them? They didn't come with spokes and hubs?
Because Dylan's a pansy. They came with spokes on his own.
Okay, you build a wheel, Drew. See how good it comes out.
You built a sauna. Dylan,
I can figure it out. I can guarantee you there's a YouTube video showing me how to do it, and I could do it.
Yeah, okay. The wheels came with spokes and hubs, but they did not come built.
That's bogus. That's not even like saving. That's not even saving any money on shipping because the rim is still the same size as... You know what I mean? Like, it's still going to be the same size box.
The main reason they did it is because I needed the wheels for Midsouth, and building them would have taken like an extra week. So instead, they just shipped it to Trey, and he built it.
And then the race got canceled.
DIY.
Yeah, and then the race got canceled, so we didn't even need to do that in the first place.
Oh. Okay.
Any racing between now and Sea Otter, DJ?
There's a Southeast gravel race that I may or may not do, but every time I go to the South,
you're gonna roll down to our training camp this weekend?
No, definitely not.
You said you might.
Yeah, but I've been on the road for like 2 weeks. I just want to chill at home.
You've been on the road for 2 weeks, and how many hours of racing have you done? That crit does not count as racing. I saw your performance. You were not
10 minutes.
Okay, well, if you don't count the crit, 2 hours and like 23 minutes. Or something like that.
Worth it.
Wow.
Simon flew over from Norway and got 0 hours of racing.
True.
Sucks. Did he do the dirt crit?
No. Well, actually, he started the dirt crit, but then his fork was about to snap in half, so he pulled out.
Oh, that was when it was breaking.
Okay. I didn't realize that happened during the dirt crit.
Wow.
Dang.
Sketchy. Graham says, "Hey, Bonk Bros, I think the quote unquote for hire on Kyle Trudeau's jersey is like what you see on the over the road trucker doors because he has to haul Dizzle's ass all the time."
Oh, yeah, that's
I
true.
thought it was a
Dude.
joke. I think that was the point of him putting it on his bibs, was a joke.
Yeah.
It was just funny that he actually put his Gmail on his bibs.
But what was the Gmail?
I don't remember, but it was legit. It was like
Was it like-
kyletrudeau@gmail.com.
Oh, it wasn't.
Like it was his legit Gmail.
Assholer@gmail.com.
Nah, that would have been funny though. He should have done that. I think it was actually his Gmail.
Okay, well, that's a little weird. Okay, Jeremy says, need some discussion on etiquette of waiting for riders after they crash, especially, I think you guys talked about this last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Pidcock waited for Hog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Tim
skipping
says,
that one?
Yeah. Didn't we already talk about it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we
we
talked
did.
about it last week.
Okay. Tim says, love your show. Each of you brings something unique to the table and makes the show very entertaining, tangents and all. Don't change anything. Tire question. Cue for Scott to leave and tap a maple tree.
Tapping's done for the year. Weather's too nice in Maryland.
How much syrup did you get out of
In
all
total?
that tapping?
Probably like
One jug.
gallon and a half, maybe.
Worth it, dude. Worth it.
That's a lot of syrup.
That
Dude,
is
I got-
actually, yeah, that is a lot. Yeah. that's
Adam
like-
Roberts drinks probably all of that in one Unbound.
Yeah, but how much of it is homemade?
None.
Exactly.
Dude, if he had to home make all the syrup that he consumes in training, he would never be able to train. He would just be making syrup all day.
That seems like an expensive way to drink sugar when you're training.
It's,
No, I don't
it's
think
way
so.
cheaper than drink mix.
According to Roberge, it's the most cost-effective
Yeah,
fueling
I think it is.
strategy that he
Maple
has.
syrup.
Maple
I
syrup
don't
is
know.
very
I think just
No.
using straight sugar is probably more
Yeah.
cost effective.
Candy.
Has to be.
I don't know.
No, candy is more
Maple-
expensive.
Then maple syrup.
No, then sugar. Just straight sugar.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, sugar.
I don't know. Maybe it's cheaper up there in Canada if you buy Canadian maple syrup. I don't know.
It is. He buys like he'll buy like a pack of like 50, and they're in aluminum cans, like we get our green beans and stuff from. And he gets and they're only like $2 or $3 for each can. It's like
Is that Canadian dollars?
no, I don't know. It's like it's way
Well, it's like
cheaper than
nothing,
what it
man.
is
That's
here for maple
Free.
syrup.
It's like
I
negative.
know.
money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
it's $2 Canadian, dude,
I
that's
don't know.
like 4 pennies.
I tried to find the syrup that he gets on the internet, and I couldn't find it. Like you can't get it in the US.
Yeah, you
Yeah, 'cause I wanna
gotta use
bust
that
out a-
VPN and put yourself up in Quebec.
Yeah.
Dude, I want to bust out a can opener every time I want syrup.
Yeah, they don't even have the kind of can
Oh, you don't know
openers
how
that
to use a can
twist.
opener.
They just like poke it. They have
Yeah.
one of those kinds of can openers.
That's how you drink out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyways, this guy actually had a question. Why does Dylan hate on Renee Hurst tires? The Snow Qualmy Pass Extra Lights are one of the fastest tires on bicycle rolling resistance. The few times I've heard Renee Hurst tires mentioned were when Dylan says they are dog slow from when he ran them at Big Sugar. Please don't tell me he's basing that on how they feel. It didn't seem to slow him down when he mentioned the comeback at the Muddy Year at Unbound. What?
Okay.
Aside from needing copious amounts of sealant, the tires with the tread seem to be right up the alley for Lifetime Grand Prix riders. Take Jan Henn's research data with a grain of salt if you want, but at least on paper, the Fleecer Ridge with the supple casing would compete with the Kings and be worth Dylan's real world testing.
Man, there's nothing
biggest thing, the
that
flat
annoys
protection.
me more than when people talk about Renee Hurst tires and use the correct name for the tire. Just say the knobby one in a 44 or
Yeah.
the slick one in a 48. Like, no one knows what Qualmy Pass is, dude.
Yeah,
The
I have
naming
no
system
idea.
is horrible,
Yeah.
and no one knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So look, Renee Hurst tires. If you get the ones that won't flat, they're slow. And if you get the ones that are fast, they'll flat. So there you go. That's my review.
What if you use a gallon of sealant?
You could also use a gallon of sealant, dude.
You're running the risk still.
What if instead of using a tube, you just fill the entire thing with sealant?
Yeah, you could do that. That's basically what I did at Big Sugar. Look, so
when did you run those tires at Big Sugar?
Because I wanted the widest tire that I could fit in my bike at the time, and I had a Factor, so it wasn't very wide, and I don't know. The whole thing was not optimal. I don't like to think about it, but he's talking about the extra light casing being so fast. Dude, you're going to flat the extra light casing on the road, bro. That's how not puncture resistant that tire is. That will not survive a gravel race.
Did Brendan Wirtz win Nats on the super light ones?
I don't think Brendan Wirtz ever runs the extra light ones. I think he's a big rider. I think I've always seen you can tell the difference because the extra light ones have a light colored casing, and the more puncture resistant ones have a darker casing.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen him on the light casing. I think he's always been on the darker casing.
Okay. Because I knew he ran slicks, and I thought they were the Rene Hurst ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, Rene Hurst tires aren't the worst tires ever, but when they're not. I would say they're, and it depends on which Rene Hurst tire we're talking about, but I would say they're like a mid-tier gravel tire. And honestly, like gravel tires are dead, so I don't.
Says you.
Yeah, it looks like he was on the darker casing ones.
Yeah, no, he's always been on the darker casing ones. I've never seen.
Okay,
I've never seen him.
So we had some Patreon beef going on here because Anti-Matter Death Ray responded and said,
got Patreon beef. We've made it, y'all.
It's awesome.
We've made it. Yes.
Oh, I love it. Seems like the biggest issue is Rene Hurst tires require a lot of babysitting. I've tried the Race Kings, Ricks, Thunderbirds, and those tires are basically set it and forget it. Mm-hmm. I've never run Rene's Hurst tires, but I had a friend who had tried them and dealt with the weeping sidewall issue that seems to be pretty common. He said it wasn't necessarily a deal breaker, but was really annoying.
Yeah, it's just, look, exactly what I said. If you get the ones that are fast, you'll flat. And if you get the ones that won't flat, they're slow. So
it sounds like basically they're not tubeless. I mean, they're tubeless, but not tubeless, right? I mean,
if you get the ones that are puncture resistant, they work well tubeless. If you get the super light ones, you're going to have to babysit the tire for sure.
Weeping sidewalls.
Dang, even the tires are sad.
Maybe that SILCA Ultimate 2.0 would help seal those weeping sidewalls up.
Yeah, that's right. Drop
Maybe,
that code.
But you'd be. I think you'd be even better going off with an actual tire that works, like a race.
Aren't they overpriced too? Aren't they like the most expensive?
They're
tires?
super expensive. Yeah, they're like $100
right
bucks
there.
a tire.
There's the reason you shouldn't do it. Just you don't have to spend that much.
I don't
money.
know. Rene Hurst has a weird cult following, and I do appreciate that Jan at Rene Hurst did a lot of testing and published his testing data. I think that's really cool. So props to him for that. The tires, I feel like, I don't know. There's better options out there. I don't know why you would go with Rene Hurst. I think there's better options.
Okay. Sean asked for me any updates on the Schwalbe Rick XC Pro.
What about for me, dude? I've been running those since Schwamigan.
I haven't ridden them yet. I'm going to ride them today for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Like on a real ride. But yeah, you can shed some light on those.
Yeah, they are a tire. Yeah.
What's going to be your Sea Otter tire? Oh no, that's right. Sea Otter is gravel this year. Never mind.
But still,
Does
that's
it
a good
matter?
question. What's your tire?
Isn't it the same course?
No, different, totally different.
I think
Totally
I'm going to
different
do.
course?
I think I'll
This
probably
year
do
it's a different
Thunderbirds, Schwalbe Thunderbirds for Sea Otter.
Would the Race King be an option?
Yeah, it would be for sure. I'll bring both actually and assess.
Yeah.
Why would you choose the Thunderbird over the Race King?
Well, if there's not a very high risk of puncturing, I usually go with Thunderbirds because I think they're a little bit faster. But the reason why I don't run Thunderbirds at every race is just because I'm worried about puncturing them if that's a risk.
Okay. What tires did you keep flatting when you were riding with Adam Roberge that one day?
Thunderbirds.
There you go. Those tires suck.
Oh, I thought they were Race Kings. Okay.
Well, I did flat the Race King, but it was because a nail went into my tire, so I don't think any tire would have withstood that.
Okay.
Oh, dang.
I still got a Venmo Chase $100 for that tire.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh,
Chase had enough Race Kings to just shell one out.
Yeah, for $100.
$100, dude. That's double MSRP.
I know, dude. And I was that
You could get on two of those from our homies at Bicycle Tires
Dude,
Direct.
You know how
Are they
much
really
money
that
I
cheap?
spent
50
on this
bucks a
race
tire?
that didn't happen? I spent $150 to get a shim in one day, and then I spent $100 on a Race King that I didn't need. And then the race didn't happen.
Hey, at least you got 1,000 smackaroos the weekend before.
Yeah. Dude, you're rolling in the dough. Stop complaining.
Yeah. So will the Schwalbe Rick XCs be your go-to XC tire for right now?
Depends on the course, but yeah, I like them. I think the traction is definitely better than the Thunderbirds, which isn't hard to do because the traction on the Thunderbirds is terrible. I haven't actually tested them, so I can't really say how fast they are, but I think on bicycle rolling resistance, they ended up performing pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like them a lot. I think that's a good XC tire option for sure.
Do they have as good a traction as Aspens?
Nah, Aspen's probably better.
Okay.
If you ask people about Aspens, you get mixed reviews. Like I talked to some people that are like, "Oh, dude, the Aspen is trash," and they're not saying it's trash because it's slow, which is what I would say. They're saying it's trash because it doesn't corner well, and I'm like, I feel like the Aspen
corner is
great, yeah. But
to me, like a good cornering tire has really good transition between straight and cornering traction, and I think that Aspen does that perfectly.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm curious to try the Rick XCs out. I'm a little nervous because the last time I rode a mountain bike, I broke my thumb. So kind of sketched to try some sketch tires, but we'll see how it goes.
Are you blaming that on the tire?
No, I that was on Aspens. So I'm saying if I corner like shit, like I did that one day on Rick XCs, I might break something else.
What were those tires I had on that purple bike all those years
Icons,
ago?
dude. Those are trash.
Okay, because I think those are the only mountain bike tires I've ever used.
You know what? I'm kind of surprised.
Your knowledge of anything related to mountain biking is shockingly
I know.
low.
It is
crazy.
Wait, what tires are you going to put on your Lauf bike? Did you get that yet?
No, I need to email him.
Like you can't
actually
name
at Schwamigan last year. I got those Aspen STs.
Yeah,
I still have those, and then I have.
And what was your reasoning for getting the Aspen STs
For Schwamigan?
Mm-hmm. I already know your reason, but
Because they're fast. They're just
you
as
somehow
fast as
forgot.
the Race Kings, aren't they?
no.
All right. Well,
I thought you tested them, Adam, and they were exactly the same.
To remind you your
they were
reasoning
slower.
that you told me at Schwamigan, you got them because Keegan uses them.
Oh, and the bike shop didn't have. Well, was there another option? What's the other option? Race
I
Kings?
mean, there's a lot
Race
of other
Kings.
options, dude. There's a lot of tires out there.
I guess at the time the bike shop didn't have Race Kings.
What are
Yeah,
you?
so I've tested the Aspen ST against the Aspen on dirt and grass, and they were the same.
Okay.
Did you see the testing that Chad Haga did where he tested, I don't know, a bunch of different Maxxis tires,
They're all the
ST,
same.
regular Aspen, the Reaver, and they were all the same?
Do you believe that?
Well, he was like, I don't know. I mean, I didn't actually see the Excel spreadsheet of which he was just like, oh, they're all within the margin of error, which, I mean, it sounded like they were all pretty close. So
I'm kind of surprised that Maxxis riders haven't done for gravel is use a non-EXO tire.
Mm-hmm.
So like an Icon that comes in a non-EXO, because you don't really need the extra protection.
You know
right?
what?
I
You know what? Keegan had for the dirt crit on the back.
No.
Okay. It was a Max Light.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So that a Max Light would be a non-EXO casing. That seems like a no-brainer to me.
I feel like so they don't make the Max Light anymore. I don't know how he got it, but it seems like if you're a Maxxis rider, Max Light is the fastest gravel tire option that you have.
I think Jeff Kabush's rant about mountain bike tires on gravel mentioned that the Max Light is the fastest Maxxis tire of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't people be running that?
Well, you can't. I mean, they don't make that tire anymore, so that's.
I know, but someone I'm sure has a stash of them somewhere.
Yeah, like Jeff Kabush.
Yeah, maybe.
He posted a picture of an entire box full of them.
Yeah.
That's your
how much do you think he's selling those
model,
for?
Drew, is buying tires and just holding them until they're worth more someday.
I mean, Trey at the
honestly, you could have done that with
that.
You could have done that with the Race Kings, dude.
Yeah, he bought a bunch of Race Kings and sold them for like.
We need to start buying tires,
especially those old Race Kings. The old Race Kings before they had the e-bike rating.
E25, yeah,
yeah, dude.
We need to start buying tires as investments. You know what I mean?
You know, people do this with trees. They buy trees and they invest in trees. And then in 20 years, when the trees are fully grown, they sell the trees for like 20 times more than what it cost them to.
Okay, that's just farming, Drew.
I know, but I'm saying like people consider this like tree investments.
Dizzle, people invest in a lot of things, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's easier than that
NFTs.
is buying tires at retail and selling them for double retail because you don't have to maintain them. A tree, you got to water it and shit.
Dizzle, you know there's this. Dizzle, you know there's this thing called.
Do you have trees in your backyard, and do you water them?
We have a tree that we planted in our front yard, and we didn't water it, and it died. So.
What kind of tree?
It was supposed to be a maple oak tree.
And it died?
A cross between a maple and an oak?
Yeah.
What? All right.
And it didn't. No,
wonder how that syrup comes out.
Yeah, we're not going to find out, apparently.
I've seriously thought about buying a commercial crabbing license as an investment too. Because from the time I started following the price in probably 2020, it was like $3,000. Now it's like $6,500 for license.
So why? What? You can't sell it, can you?
Yes, you can.
Oh,
you buy it off somebody else and transfer it to my name, and then hold it and then sell it.
How does that work?
Exactly.
I don't know why I asked. I don't care.
I guess there's probably a limit, right? You can only have so many licenses. There's a line of.
Like I'm on the list to get one, I guess, when they come available, like through the state. And the people who are getting them now got on the list in like 2017 or something. So it's like a 8-year wait list to get the license, or you can buy it off somebody.
Okay. Then someone says, okay, antimatter death ray. Dude, this guy's just owning the Patreon chat.
He's probably like a $1 supporter too.
It don't matter. That new V2 all road from State Bicycles looks pretty sweet. I wish the geometry wasn't so aggressive on it though. UDH, internal cable routing, 2.2 inch tire clearance, and $1,300 for the frame set.
I was interested about their 2.2 claimed clearance because when I asked them about that, they said it was the same as the old one. So I think, don't quote me on this, I think the reason they're putting on there that the claimed clearance is 2.2 is because I ran 2.2s on the old frame. But
yeah, I've started to see some companies doing this where the company itself is actually endorsing bigger tire size. It'll say like the claimed is 50 millimeters, but it can fit 55. And I've kind of wondered about that. It seems kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
Because the reason they have to put the claimed is because it has to meet certain ISO standards for universal frame clearance. So I don't know. It seems like there might be some legal issues there.
I feel like the company needs to advertise the actual ISO standard clearance. And then I think it should be okay for any other rider to say, well, this is what I can actually fit on there.
I agreed with that. But can the company do that though?
Yeah, no, I don't think the company should be doing that.
Because I told them, I was very clear. I was like, on this new bike, you guys need to claim that it can fit mountain bike tires and market it that way. And they told me it was too late to do that. But then they did it anyways. So I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Unless this guy is just claiming based off of your claims.
No, it says 2.2 on the website.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Carol says, how Dylan's numbers on new power meter compares to his previous power meter on Shimano cranks. Rumor says SRAM shows higher numbers. I have 3 SRAM power meters and they seem to be consistent among each other, but they show lower values than my 2 Wahoo power meter trainers.
But yeah, you can't even compare power meter.
So this person's saying that the cork reads low.
Compared to Wahoo.
So
a trainer.
Wahoos are all over the place though, man.
And it's not
Yeah.
a
Trainer?
It's a trainer.
Trainers, yeah.
So
that's
I don't know. She might be getting at the fact that
I think Carol's a he or a she. We don't know what Carol is.
Okay, well, whatever Carol is, they're getting at the fact that I've always used a Quark power meter, but with Shimano chain rings.
Yeah.
Is the claim that is changing the accuracy?
No, I think that they didn't know that. I don't think they realized that you were always using a cork. They just knew that you went to SRAM.
I've been using a cork since day one. Cork till I die,
Oh boy.
Gonna get that tattooed on me.
That'd be a good one. Be way better.
All right,
than
can
the
we wrap it up?
cat dog.
I got some driving to do.
Yeah, because this next one from Antimatter Death Ray is very long.
No, save it for next week.
All right.
Or just never. Delete it.
It's actually a pretty good one because it's talking about how Kate Courtney shit on marginal gains, but we'll save that for next time.
Save it for next week because I'm going to go off on a rant that's like 30 minutes.
All right.
If we get to that.
Okay.